Happy holidays, family. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions in Boston community. Shout out to the Louisiana All American Sports Network. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. This is the Tailgate Party, Season 1, Episode 19. We getting ready to go on a fantastic journey. So get ready, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. JD. All right, all right. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. The Tailgate Party, Season 1, Episode 19, Marshall Faulk era. Are some Jaguar fans expecting too much? Jaguar Nation, it's time for a real check-in on the Tailgate Party, Season 1, Episode 19. We break down the Marshall Faulk era at Southern University and separate hype from reality. With Falk building his coaching staff and excitement growing around SU football, what should fans really expect in year one? We'll discuss realistic expectations for Southern University football under Marshall Faulk, what success actually looks like in the first season, how Jaguar Nation should manage hype without losing momentum, comparing Southern situation to other SWAC coaching transitions, why patience, culture, and development matter in the long run. This is an open conversation with the community. Drop your thoughts in the chat or in the comment section after the live stream ends, and let's talk SU football, HBCU sports, and the future of Jaguar Nation. Like, share, and subscribe to support Coach 67 Sports TV, Coach 67 Sports TV as we build Jaguar Nation one subscriber at a time. Go Jags. So that is the description for the Tailgate Party, Season 1, Episode 19. Let's go to the chat. Let's see who in the building. First, starting off with motivation to be a millionaire. He said, salute Coach 67, chat, HBCU family, and Jaguar Nation. Salute motivation to be a millionaire. He said, you all right, Coach? Jaguar Nation needs to have realistic expectations. He said SWAC championship or bust in year one for Falk is extremely unrealistic. 7 wins in the first season might be more reasonable. Yeah, I think so. He said Pete Richardson and Tremaine Jackson definitely didn't take over historically bad teams. Yeah, he must get this talking point from my previous live stream or one of the live streams prior to that. He said he has to finish putting together his staff and then put together a roster. Yeah, for certain. He said it's going to be a wild ride, but I'm all here for it. Go Jags. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute to Relax and Calm Rain. He said salute Coach 67, chat HBCU family, and Jaguar Nation. He said some people are looking at the $400K salary and the coaching staff, but they have to realize this is his first year as a head coach. Expectations definitely have to be managed and realistic. Yeah, I agree. He said we have to commit to Coach Falk in the process. He said I think he meant to say can't abandon ship if the team starts out 0-4. Yeah, I agree. He said you're right though. They need to do like Grumling. I think he was putting Grambling, but I know what he meant. Had to do like Grumling and schedule a couple easy wins early to give the team confidence. Yeah, I agree. He said I wouldn't have thought that the 90 playing video you did would have played out in real life. Yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. He said you did that video well over a month and change ago. All right, all right, all right. Relax and Conrad say Southern will get back to where we belong in 2 to 3 years. I think some people might think that timeline is a little slow, but I agree for certain. Go Jags, yes sir. Man, salute and shout out to Tilton Lathers. He said, "What up, Coach? Man, salute to your fam." Joseph David says, "Sub Coach 67 Sports TV." Salute to you, Joseph David. Salute to your boy Jay. He said, what's good, Coach? Man, salute to your fam. Nathaniel Frank, what up, Coach? Man, what's good with your family? Go Jags, yes, sir. He said, I think year one, we should get 7 to 8 games. Yeah, I said the exact same thing. I think year one, I think 7 to 8 wins, I think is realistic. I mean, I think if anything over that might be asking too much. I mean, we know more than likely this team is probably going to be portal heavy. And I mean, to me, the reason why I don't like to set my expectations too high, because if you exceed expectations, that's great. However, if you don't live up to expectations, yeah, that's problematic. So if they don't live up to the expectation that everybody have for them, then yeah, that's definitely gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? That was definitely was the issue with Dooley and Graves. And like I said all the time, Dooley minus the quarterback position and being able to groom and develop talent in that position, Dooley definitely was able to recruit, but he couldn't coach, whereas Graves couldn't do either one of them. And year one, they both went to the SWAC championship game and lost to Jackson State. And in year two, they regressed. So it definitely came back to get them. Your boy Jay said, I'm going to be honest. I think Southern coming out the gate swinging year one, they will dominate recruiting this year based off of the type of the hype of Marshall Faulk name. Yeah, I mean, I think that is feasible, your boy Jay. But again, I'd rather have like reasonable expectations and have them exceeded as opposed to me having unrealistic expectations and them not meeting it. I think, for those individuals that expect them to do good or want them to do good right out the gate, I'm not mad at that. But I think that's been a problem the last couple seasons from the standpoint of people want, them to win the SWAC, and they just hadn't been capable of that. In fact, Southern hadn't won a SWAC championship since 2013. So I think that's the thing. So, I went over the bullet points in terms of what we'll discuss. So the first realistic expectations for Southern under Coach Faulk, I think the end game, the end goal, maybe year two, maybe year three, is to win a Celebration Bowl. However, year one, I think 7 wins is reasonable. It's realistic in year one. What success actually looks like in the first season. And again, I think 7 wins is very realistic. But I think, you know, the adding in a couple easy wins. I mean, you got to go to the vet. Uh, you're gonna play against Alabama State. Even though them too, they also have a lot of players in the portal. Eddie Robertson is an experienced coach, so they're gonna shake back. So you got to go to the vet. You're playing against Alabama State. Uh, you're playing against the Houston Cougars in the money game. All three of those games are going to be extremely difficult to get. So I think you need to balance that with, playing a couple easier games, like, maybe you play Lane, maybe you play Lincoln, whatever, So I think you need to balance that, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but you got to go to Bragg to play against FAMU. And more than likely, Quinn Gray gonna bring a lot of players from Albany State to FAMU, and we've seen how that worked out for Chennis Berry and for Tremaine Jackson. So at the end of the day, I think you gotta get you a couple easy wins in there in terms of your schedule, and not only that, but you have to, you have to have realistic expectations. I think 7 wins year one is a lot, Man, salute to my brother Desmond Allen. He said, I agree with you, dog, coach. He said 7 to 8 games is good for me. He said, if we go beyond that, excellent. Yeah. And I think that's the thing about it. I think tempering the expectations, just I say, well, hey, we got to win 10 games. And they win 5. Like, that'll be a disappointment. So I think managing expectations is the thing. Because, like I said, it was pointed out in the chat, We got to support Coach Faulk, but more than anything, we got to support the process from the standpoint of we got to be committed. If Southern starts out 0-3 and 0-4, we can't say, well, hey, all is lost. I mean, it's a process. And like I've said before, people have been like, hey, Pete Richardson won the SWAC championship year one. Tremaine Jackson won the SWAC championship year one. But they didn't also take over historically bad teams either. Your boy Jay said the SWAC is awful. They can easily win 7 to 8 games solely off talent alone. Yeah, but I mean, the thing about it, your boy Jay, don't get me wrong. I know he's gonna bring in, some dogs from a recruit standpoint, but you got to realize this team was historically bad, and you're gonna have a lot of players from the team last year. So we just gonna spitball a number, right? They had 17 seniors last year. So you had 17 seniors. They increased the number you can have on your active roster from 85 to 105. So Southern definitely could afford the 105 number. But you still got, even if you bring in a ridiculous amount of players. I know Tremaine Jackson brought in 70 players. But at the same token, I know you're going to lose some of those players to attrition. However, you still going to have a lot of the players that were on the roster last year. And then the thing we got to take into consideration is some of the starters were not good. So if the starters weren't good, that means the backups weren't even playable. So even what the coaching staff looking like on the surface is going to be as good as I think it's going to be, even if you get the most out of all the players in terms of grooming and developing them, I mean, you still might be after that point, you probably still like a middle of the pack team in the SWAC West. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's, Tails and Leather said, he said they're going to FAMU, going to PV, going to Texas Southern. And that's the thing about it. Quinn Gray more than likely is going to do a decent job at PV, right? Then we already saw what Tremaine Jackson did at PV. And I'm almost certain in year 3 under Chris Dishman, Texas Southern fan base and the school and everybody, they're going to expect some progression from Chris Dishman. More than likely, Texas Southern is going to be a tougher team. So at the end of the day, like, those are 3 difficult games to go on the road and play. And like I said, that ain't also considering, you got to go to the vet. Adrian Crook said JSU has 1 starter left. He said that ninja pretty much back at Valley. Well, I mean, I think the thing Jackson State fans are counting on is the fact that TC Taylor has built up their program. Jackson State has done a great job of recruiting. I think, they honestly believe that there's going to be no drop-off. But, like I said on the previous live stream, man, you can't have 20-some players in the portal and not expect there to be some drop-off at some point. I mean, come on, we got to be realistic. You can't lose that amount of good players. And I'm not talking about, like, bottom of the barrel players. I'm talking about, some like first team all SWAC type players. So at the end of the day, like, there's gonna be some drop off, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Jay said Alabama State best wide receiver hit the portal today also. Yeah, that's what I was saying about Alabama State. You already knew Andrew Body. He probably gonna a Power 4 PWI, and NIL money, he probably looking at maybe somewhere between $1 million and 1.5 million. I mean, he gonna get a bag. So he gone. Carl Igon gone. Like you said, their best wide receiver hit the portal. So, Adrian Crook said the coach is hitting the portal. Savoy Mitchell. In fact, man, let me get this clown out of here, Savoy Mitchell. Racist scumbag piece of trash. Your mama a ninja. All right, anyway, proceeding. Made me lose my train of thought. Adrian Crook said, Coach, clip Billy. Oh, all right, yeah. He was telling me that clown. Don't worry. My brother Jared 11 Green was supposed to walk me through the whole wrench thing because I only got like 2 people that got wrenches, but we got him out of here. Scumbag piece of trash. Your mama a ninja. Anyway, Joseph Davis said, I'm hoping Faulk brings it. He said 50 to 60 players, especially offensive and defensive linemen. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to lie. The offensive and defensive line play need to turn up big time. And Adrian Cook said, yeah. He said he way deep in that clown mama. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't know why this racist scumbag piece of trash, I don't even know why he coming up through here. Hey, like I said, his mama. Desmond Allen said, yeah, Southern had about 3 to 5 guys we could play to past season. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. If it was me, yeah, it would be a lot of turnover in a roster. But even with that being said, there's still a lot of room to bring in a lot of players. So I expect, excuse me, gotta look off. I expect a great deal of improvement. But even with that being said, yeah, I think it's gonna be some improvement. You know what I'm saying? Desmond Allen said, Jackson defensive coordinator, the lead candidate for the head coaching job at Clark Atlanta. Oh, all right. So that's what Adrian Cook was talking about. All right. Yeah, Jay Good always talking about him. I can't think of his name. Your boy Jay said, yeah, I did see Jackson State DC might be gone for a head coaching job too. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what all of the Jackson State players in the portal and then potentially losing their defensive coordinator. How things look. Is that the one they call what his name Torenzo or I can't think his name. Joseph Davis said, can some more SU players other than number 6 hit the portal? Yeah, I think they got what? Darren Morris, Zay Franks, and I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Torenzo Quinn. Yeah. I couldn't think his name. But yeah, hey, it's a strong possibility he could get that guy. I mean, he could get it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and Adrian Cook said D-line coach stepped down also. So yeah, more than likely he is probably going. If he gets the job, he probably gonna go with him. Your boy Jay said half the team were seniors, which made it shocking how bad they were. So at least 70% of this team will be turned over. All right. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the amount of seniors this team had this past season. You right, your boy Jay. Like, I was shocked that they were that bad when you consider all the seniors. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's going. Like I said, I know this season, uh, Coach Faulk is gonna get a lot of players in the portal, but what players do you target? Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying I would take Jackson State whole roster, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I would be interested in a few of those players that they have on they had on the roster, like like Travis Terrell Jr. You already loaded at running back, but I still would take a swipe at Miller. I think if you could get Miller and Holly and maybe Remo, that'd be a good punch. But if he didn't want split carries with all those backs in Jackson State, he might be trying to look to go to PWI Power 5 or whoever the highest bidder is, you know what I'm saying? So, it's going to be interesting to see how that play out. And then in addition to that, anytime you got first team all SWAC offensive lineman in the portal, it's like, dang, bro, like what's really going on? So I don't know what's going on, but I'm not really concerned about Jackson State. My main focus and concern is Southern and seeing how like they're gonna progress and they're gonna transition moving forward this coming season. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Crook said D headed back to the basement covered in baby oil. hey, you could count on Adrian Crook. You could count on Adrian Crook, to bring the noise, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hey, that's crazy. And Adrian Crook said, boy, you crazy, Crook. Desmond Allen said Terrell will be good. He said we could use him in a return game. I'm not gonna lie. Southern has not had an elite level punt and kick returner for so long. Man, I would take him in a hot minute. Man, salute to my brother Blackwater Bayou. He said salute coach in chat. Salute to Blackwater Bayou. But yeah, I think Travis Terrell Jr., I think he would be a good addition to Southern. And I mean, not only that, but I mean, how many other JSU players done hit the portal? It's going to be interesting to see. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Cook said he will have clean water and AC. Man, boy, Crook, you wild. Boy, Crook be going in. Crook be going in. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they attack recruiting overall. Well, first, in terms of finishing up, like the coaching staff, we know he still got some more like position coaches to fill out the rest of his coaching staff. And then in addition to that, fill out the roster. But I mean, they got to hit the ground running. I mean, we know last year that Tremaine Jackson brought in a lot of players in the portal. So it's going to be imperative that Marshall Faulk brings in a bunch of high quality players. Your boy JC, I would say it's very refreshing to have a coaching staff that wasn't on other SWAC teams. It's very diverse. Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. That's one thing I really like about the coaching staff. I mean, you got a lot of NFL playing experience. You got some coaching experience on higher levels. So I think just from what I'm seeing in terms of the coaching staff, it's too early to tell. But in terms of like coaching staff, like coach by coach, mine is Marshall Faulk. When you look at the coordinators and the assistant coaches and the everything else in considered when you're looking at the staff, Southern should have like the cream of the crop coaching staff in the SWAC. Man, salute to my brother Big Joe Townsend. Hey, standing on LDBC business, you dig? Man, hey, y'all already saw I posted for those individuals that, like to partake in spirits, like whiskey, like bourbon. We get your bottle Old Hillside. Y'all saw my bottle, even though I don't drink. I'm going to let my cousins take care of that. But, man, support a black-owned company. We trying to get Old Hillside to the same level as Uncle Near's. And, of course, Old Hillside Bourbon Company was the sponsor for the previous episode of the Tailgate Party. Man, y'all go support my brother Big Joe Townsend and the family at Old Hillside Bourbon Company. Salute to my brother Big Joe. Salute to Old Hillside Bourbon Company. Time to be men. He said, we don't want nobody from Jackson State. Look, hey, I'm going to keep it a buck. I don't care if they come from Jackson State, Alabama State, wherever. If they can help our team and we would benefit from it, I'm with it. Now, my question would be, y'all say, all right, hey, we don't want nobody from Jackson State. Cool. All right. Is Coach Faulk going to be able to get an elite level punt and kick returner that's just as good or better than Travis Terrell Jr.? That's my question. So that's what I want to see. You know what I'm saying? Tedron Leather say, I'm interested to see who our receivers coaches, who the receivers coach is going to be. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting too. But I mean, that's one thing we know what Curtis Johnson, like he gonna get you some receivers. So I don't know who the receivers coach is going to be, but you know, he got a track record for being able to bring in coaches. I'm talking about, I'm sorry. Got me saying coaches. He got a track record for being able to bring in wide receivers. And not only that, but I mean, one thing we could see with Coach Faulk in terms of his staff, you know, you got a pipeline to the West Coast. You know, you bringing in Merchant from Sacramento State. You know, you got many ties to the city of Baton Rouge with Ben Miles, Les Miles' son. You know, you got a pipeline to New Orleans, the I-10 corridor. So, you know, it's gonna be interesting to see like how far and wide they cast their net from a recruit standpoint. And like I said, I don't want players, you know, from the state of Louisiana or from Baton Rouge or from New Orleans or from the Bayou or from the river parishes or just from Louisiana in general, just because they're from certain schools. I want elite level blue chip dogs. Hey, if they can't play, I don't care what school they come from. You know, we need to be able to go across the board with it. You know what I'm saying? Your boy just said that Mark Frederick's hire 2 years ago still gives me nightmares, and how Graves was lined up, but how good he was. And that's the thing about it, man. People was able to eventually see through the bull crap. So that's why I don't understand how, you know, Coach Graves is playing the victim and they slandering my name. And I'm a good old Christian boy. I mean, like I say, by all accounts, everything I've heard about former Southern University head coach Terrence Graves is that he a real good guy. He a nice guy. He a decent human being. He all of the above. But that don't win games. And that's the thing he didn't realize, like, hey, he just figured, hey, he gonna get his partner on the staff. Man, we don't want that, bro. Hey, we won't win. And that ain't gonna cut it. So, you know, whatever ancillary role they gonna have him in till they part ways with him, hey, it is what it is. But like you were saying, your boy Jay, it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be interesting to see how the go-go offense looks on the yard and on the bluff this season. That go-go offense, I'm interested to see how they're gonna work. But you know, some people talking about how good the go-go offense is gonna be, but you know, like one of the football coaches at my school told me Friday. He said, yeah, X's and O's cool. We said we got the X's and O's cover look like. But he said, now it's time to go out and get the Jimmys and Joes. So that's going to be the thing I'm looking forward to. You know what I'm saying? Joseph Davis, I'm really excited that Ken Merchant will be the OC. He put up a lot of points last season at Sacramento State. Yeah, and I just was saying that about his go-go offense. So it's going to be interesting to see. And not only that, but I mean, Mark Frederick's spread offense was boring. It was bland. It was vanilla. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how that go-go offense look with all the window dressing and everything. Like, I haven't seen it up close yet. You know, I'm going to go look at some footage. By all accounts, it's going to be a problem in the SWAC. Like, SWAC defensive coordinators going to have their hands full. So, hopefully they get the players to really put into that offense and implement it. Blackwater Bayou said, if we can build a bigger and better O-line, we should be 99% better than the whole better. Our whole problem these last few years been bad in the trenches and coaches. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The coaching staff was, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. Bottom of the barrel. And I'm not just talking about the bottom of the inside the barrel. I'm talking about the sticky black tar on the bottom of the barrel. The coaching staff was trash. I mean, the offensive and defensive line play this past season, it is not what I've been synonymous and used to seeing from Southern University when you've been able in the past to dominate up front on both sides of the ball. That wasn't this Southern team this past season. So at the end of the day, like, it's gonna be interesting to see, what kind of, how the go-go offense is gonna look. But second of all, like, what type of players are you gonna be able to bring in, with this system that you're gonna have at your disposal. So, like, I'm looking forward to everything. I really think there's a lot of this upcoming season is gonna be, very interesting. We know with Marshall Faulk at the helm, Southern University is gonna get a great deal of media attention. I'm hoping a lot of sponsorships, a lot of money, and everything that's gonna be good coming with, Coach Faulk being the head coach. Like, I'm here for it. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they exceed my expectations, but I think 7 to 8 wins gonna be good. Your boy Jay said they asked Akeem to lead on the Broncos show about coaching at Southern. He said he can't because he doesn't have the time. Agent Crook said, Elfin, yeah. Your boy Jay said, but he sent Donald Penn a player he coached, so he can get an offer from Southern. All right. Time to be men said, we need D lineman and O lineman with some power up front. Oh no, I'm not gonna lie. They need some time to be men. They need some dogs up front on both sides of the ball. Like, that's where it's gonna all start. It's all gonna start in the trenches. You can't get out here and and be mediocre up front on both sides of the ball the way we were this past season. Like, they need some dogs up front. You need some guys like not the way he coached, but Damon Nivens or Kendrick Baptiste, uh, Dallas Black, Jeremiah Stafford. Like, you need some dogs up front. Desmond Allen said the only player from Jackson I would want is Travis Terrell Jr. Southern problem wasn't running backs. Hell, the O-line and D-line plus quarterbacks were terrible. We correct these areas, we'll be fine. Oh, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I done say numerous times that Southern needs an elite level quarterback, and they need a very, very, very good backup. And not only that, but you need to do a good job developing Dylan Compton and a young quarterback from St. Aug. Like, you need to do this, you know what I'm saying? Angel Cook said, let the scrubs go to Grambling. Boy, Adrian Cook sending shots tonight. But yeah, I really legitimately think that Vashawn Tick, I think he has a lot of upside potential. I mean, he undersized, but he's a winner, you know what I'm saying? Your boy just said the whole offensive line, the defensive line, getting overhauled. I know Coach Faulk see these dudes aren't D1 players. Yeah, I would agree. He said let Graves pass out flyers and sell tickets, whatever they got to do just to keep him away from Coach Faulk and his staff. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, your boy G. I mean, what? I think we got 1 year left on his contract. So, let him do his time and let's keep it pushing, Blackwater Bayou said, go-go offense is simplified triple option with the twist if wing T. All right. Tyler B. Men said, if the OC brings some of his players already in the system, it would be on and popping. Yeah, I'm almost certain Coach Merchant is probably going to bring, a few players from Sac State. I think you probably going to get a few players from Colorado. And I'm almost certain you're going to get a lot of players in the portal. But hopefully Coach Faulk and his staff, there's a balance between getting players in the portal and getting elite level blue chip players from the high school ranks so you can bring them guys in, maybe redshirt them. You could teach them. They can learn. You can groom them. You can develop them. And eventually they could be first team all SWAC players and they could stay at Southern, for 3 or 4 years. But in today's day and age, you got to just keep recruiting well because you can't count on guys staying 3 and 4 years. You can't count on Kelby Givens type guys in 2025. That's not the day and age we look at. Look at the amount of players Alabama State has in the transfer portal. Look at the amount of players Jackson State has in the transfer portal. And that's the thing about it. Like, those were 2 of the top 3 teams in the SWAC this past season. So at the end of the day, like, you got to have depth. I mean, you got to have a deep team, and you got to do an excellent job recruiting year in and year out. So at the end of the day, hopefully everything works out, Your boy Jay say, I hope they teach these boys how to tackle. That's always been Henry Miller's problem. His defenses were good, but never could tackle. Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I think this season, they really got exposed. And not only just the tackling aspect of it, your boy Jay, but their pursuit angles were terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know when Ashton Strata almost threw the pick six, I know, yeah, you probably got about a 50, 60-yard cushion. But for your quarterback to take a better angle to push the defensive back out of bounds, to push the defensive back out of bounds, the fact that he took a better pursuit angle than most of your defensive players, your linebackers, your defensive linemen, running down the line of scrimmage, your defensive backs taking poor angles constantly. Not only could they not tackle, but they often took poor pursuit angles. That's one thing that constantly aggravated me. It's like, come on, man. Like, how could you take such a poor angle? I remember, I think it was against Texas Southern. The quarterback threw the ball to wide receiver. The defensive back, instead of taking like an angle, like a 45-degree angle and cutting the guy off, he ran directly behind the guy. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Instead of cutting him off, he tried to chase him down from behind. I'm like, dude, you got the angle on him. Just take the angle. As opposed to not taking the angle and running and getting in front of him, you chased him. I'm like, bro, you gave up an extra like 15 yards on a one play. So you right from the standpoint of not only could they tackle, but they took poor pursuit angles often, especially this past season. Joseph Davis said the Jags will likely get some offensive players from Sacramento State. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm almost sure you probably going to get some players from Sacramento State. We're just going to say maybe a handful. A handful from Sacramento State and a handful from Colorado. That's what I'm thinking. Blackwater Bayou said, if I was Ken Merchant, I would mix the go-go offense with the pistol offense. All right. Tailgate Leather said, especially defensive backs, pursuit angles were horrible. Hey, big facts, Tailgate Leather. Like, the pursuit angles were like horrible, absolutely trash, completely terrible. I'm like, dude, how could you constantly take poor pursuit angles? It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this makes absolutely no sense. In the play I'm talking about, I'm like, bro, it can't get no worse. Like, for you to try to run behind a guy as opposed to cutting him off. You know what I'm saying? And your boy JC, give me some Sac State offensive line. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The offensive line play was just, it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, just awful, terrible trash. I'm like, man, come on, bro. Tails and Leather say, I think it was Alcorn game. Number 5 turned upfield when his man caught a slant instead of cutting him off to make the tackle like they were in the rest. No, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Tails and Leathers did that. They did that often, bro. Bro, they did that often. I'm like, I never seen so many defensive backs to really try to, like, instead of taking the proper pursuit angle and cutting the guy off, like just trying to chase him and run him down. It's like a boxer, right? Instead of cutting the ring off, you just trying to follow him around the ring. And they did it all the time. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I know this was a historically bad Southern University defense. Southern offensive and defensive line was terrible. The quarterback play left a lot to be desired. But one other thing that I don't think people point out enough, besides Ashton Stroughter, like this Southern University football team this past season, I think collectively as a team, this is the lowest IQ Southern University football team I have seen in my entire life. Even if players like weren't extremely talented, they weren't that good, at least they were smart. Man, I'm not gonna lie. Like their football IQ, especially as a defensive unit, but collectively as an overall team, it's like, come on, man, like, are we this like unintelligent from a football standpoint? How could our football IQ be this low? And I'm not gonna lie, like I used to, when I used to hear people talk about the Wonderlic test, I used to be like, man, hey, like, oh, it's Wonderlic. Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I played with and known players that were not that smart, but they had high football IQs. And on the flip side, I've coached players that were smart, but since they hadn't really played the game, their football IQ was extremely low. Especially, I ain't gonna name no names. I had one player that I coached for basketball. He was another one. He was extremely intelligent, but he had never played basketball before. And it was right after COVID, so I didn't have the players I would ordinarily have. And I'm not gonna lie, his basketball IQ was mud. I'm like, dude, how could you be this smart in real life and not know nothing about basketball? And I felt the same way, but this Southern football team this past season, it's like, man, collectively as a team, especially as a defensive unit, man, their IQ was extremely low. You know what I'm saying? Tails and Leather said, man, it was bad. Like bad. Big facts. Big facts. Your boy Jay said, I hope Ed Reed Jr. I'm sorry, let me say Ed. He said, I hope Eric Reed Jr. stays. He didn't play at all this season due to injury. He was good in 2024. And that's another thing that kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, man, this dude was a problem in 2024. Like, why didn't he play any? And then I heard rumblings and rumors like, yeah, coach, I think he hurt. Coach, I think he hurt. Coach, I think he hurt. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with you. The only two players I would take, your boy Jay, is Eric Reed Jr. and Herman Bristol III. And I know some people gonna be down on Herman Bristol III, like, man, Coach Herman Bristol III, he was trash this past season too. Herman Bristol III didn't do this, and Herman Bristol III didn't do that. I understand what people saying, but that guy that I saw light it up in 2024, and that guy this season, to me, that wasn't the same player. And I think if you put better players around him, I think he'll revert back to being the guy he was in 2024. And truthfully speaking, I mean, we know, Vince Sullivan is going to try to make it to the NFL, and I hope he does. I definitely wish him well. But, aside from Vince Sullivan and Mike Jones Jr. and Kelby Givens and Herman Bristol III, like, I really wouldn't want any of them players on the defense, truthfully speaking, you know what I'm saying? And Tailgate Leather said, I'll definitely take Bristol back. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I've had people that tell me they wouldn't. They're like, man, coach, this dude was bad in 2025. And I'll be like, man, the whole team was bad in 2025. And I'm not gonna lie, like even like Kelby Givens. Kelby Givens played good this season, but he wasn't dominant. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that oftentimes it just seemed like it was him and 3 substitute defensive linemen by him. But even with that being said, I'm like, man, I feel sorry for this dude. He came back for this. Desmond Allen said, I agree. He said Eric Reed and Herman Bristol are legit. I believe Herman was hurting during the season. Well, he was hurting. Vince Sullivan was hurting. So some of them players were hurt during the season. Blackwater Bayou said Bristol was injured most of the season. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like you could see it in his play. Like him, Vince Sullivan, he another one, he tried to fight through injury a good portion of the season until he couldn't make it anymore. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like the two of them, like you could legitimately see that they weren't healthy and they were just kind of fighting through the season, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely want them two back. But outside of those two guys in the secondary, man, look at it, bro. Like the entire team, let me phrase that. The entire defense, hey, it left a lot to be desired, And, one thing I can say is, the secondary still was terrible, even in the Classic. But at least the D line kind of stepped it up in the Classic. But other than that, I'm not gonna lie, like this entire season, like the defense was just bad. Your boy Jay said Bristol loves Southern. Having a guy like that in your locker room can do wonders for new players. Oh, big facts. And the fact that, his dad is the AD at Lab. And, the fact that you got, such ties to Southern. Yeah, I could see that he clearly loves Southern. And, I mean, he was clearly hurt. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I mean, the Herman Bristol III that I saw play this season and last season, it wasn't the same guy. I mean, he was clearly hurt. So, yeah, I mean, those two guys, I would take them back. You know what I'm saying? And somebody was even telling me recently about Eli West. They was like, man, coach, like Eli West, he, Terrence Graves and Henry Miller hyped him up a lot. And it was like, man, that dude was not what I thought he was going to be. And I'm like, I mean, I can't say that just about him. I could say that, but the whole team and definitely the whole defense, So at the end of the day, like your boy G has said, Marshall Faulk becoming Southern's 22nd head coach. It has reinvigorated Jaguar Nation. There's a lot of hope and enthusiasm around the football program. It has been able to, the football program has been able to garner a lot of media attention. However, we at the point now where I'm just gonna say it like this: like it's really time to go to work. And I think Coach Faulk has done a great job in assembling the staff that he's assembled to this point. I mean, don't get me wrong; he still has a lot to do, but he's done an excellent job in assembling the staff that he's assembled to this point. But once he gets that staff all together, like they definitely have to do a great job of bringing in a lot of elite level blue chip caliber players. And I've said this time and time and time and time again. The first thing you got to do is, get you an elite level quarterback and a very, 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 very good backup quarterback two guys that are going to be able to hold the fort down. Then after that, you got to start up front on both sides of the ball. Line play up front on both sides of the ball. It left so much to be desired this past season. Then after that, you definitely have to get you an elite level defense. When I say elite level defense, I'm not even talking about Jackson State this past season or Prairie View this past season. I'm talking about 93 dog day defense type of defense. And then after that point, you get your quarterbacks, you get your dogs up front on both sides of the ball in terms of your line play. You get your defense back to where it needs to be. Then you need to go get some dynamic skill players. A lot of people was high on, Kobe Brown. I like Kobe Brown from St. James. And I know the quarterback play, it left a lot to be desired. Because, somebody like Dupree Fuller, he showed in that game against Texas Southern what he could do when he get the ball. But, aside from, Dupree Fuller and at times Darren Morris, the wide receiving core. Don't get me wrong. I know the quarterback play left a lot to be desired, but, we didn't have, like, dominant wide receivers. You didn't have, like, a 1-2 punch like Micah Hayes and Devin Lewis or Chris David and Alfred Ard, James Vernon and Gerard Landry. Like, we need some dynamic playmakers on the perimeter, and you definitely need an elite level punt and kick returner. You need a kicker like that kicker Grambling guy. I don't know where Grambling found that kicker from. Southern need a kicker like that. And not only that, but Southern need a Ruben Beauplant's Matt Bushart type punter. Like, Southern needs something all across the board. You know what I'm saying? I think for the exception of maybe running backs, you probably pretty much need everything. You know what I'm saying? Your boy just said everything feels extremely different and fresh and alive again. He said it felt like a dark cloud was just raining over A.W. Mumford for 4 years. Well, I'm not gonna lie. Last season, it wasn't as bad until you fell apart in the SWAC championship game. Until Mark Frederick became Mark Frederick. But this season here, man, I'm not gonna lie, this is the worst. This past season was the worst Southern University season I've seen in my life. A historically bad team. So that's why, it was imperative that they parted ways with Terrence Graves. And not only you parted ways with him, but you brought in somebody like Marshall Faulk that could breathe new life and new hope into this program, the Southern University football program, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm going to just keep it a buck. I really believe the program is going to move in the right direction. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, SWAC championship or bust, year one under Coach Faulk. If Marshall Faulk could bring Southern a SWAC championship and a Celebration Bowl victory year one, hey, I'm going to take it. But that's not going to be the bar I'm going to set for year one. I think the expectations have to be reasonable. They have to be realistic. And overall, I really think the program is going to move in the right direction. And, if you got to go Porter heavy to get what you got to get, in my personal opinion, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? But, for, people to have these, astronomical expectations year one, I think you asking too much. You know what I'm saying? So, just to kind of start to wrap things up, I think seven wins year one is realistic. I think, there's a great deal of hype and hope around the program. And I think we can manage expectations without losing momentum in the program. And, we can't compare Southern situation to other SWAC football coaching transitions or other just coaching transitions in general. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you look at Quinn Gray's situation is not the same as Marshall Faulk's situation from the standpoint of, hey, FAMU, they definitely had a better team than Southern, even though I think Southern really should have won that game. And not only that, but Quinn Gray gonna bring a lot of players from Albany State with him. So, like, you really can't compare those two situations. You definitely can't compare the Tremaine Jackson situation, even though he brought in 70 players too. And we definitely can't compare it to Coach P. Richardson, because Marino Chasm and Gerald Kimball had some good players on that team that Coach Richardson took over. And even the young players like Eric Rounder had a lot of experience. So at the end of the day, like, we can't compare the situation Marshall Faulk is inheriting to situations of the past or even other current situations. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be imperative that Jaguar Nation is patient and that you need to really develop the players. You need to develop the culture. And more than anything, you build a solid foundation for the long run. Not just for this upcoming season, but, for the long run overall. And I think at the end of the day, I think Southern in due time going to get back to where they need to be in terms of winning the SWAC and winning the Celebration Bowl, even though Southern hasn't won a Celebration Bowl. Let's be honest. The Celebration Bowl and the Heritage Bowl is basically the same game, just differently from the standpoint of it's in this modern era. And not only that, but it's a lot more money and there's a lot more hype and a lot more prestige with the Celebration Bowl compared to back in the gap with the Heritage Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be key, that Southern not only goes to a SWAC championship game and win, but hosts the SWAC championship game at A.W. Monk Stadium, Pete Richardson Field. You win it, you go to a Celebration Bowl, and you win that too. Not in year one, maybe year two, maybe year three. That should be the long-term goal and the long-term plan. Your boy Jay said Kenny Lee fam was at Alcorn, and Alcorn punting was awful for years. He said, I have no idea what Graves saw in him other than just filling the spot. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's how I felt, your boy Jay, because even after his first season at Southern, I'm like, man, I hope they're gonna get another punter. Maybe they was hoping he made a Ruben Beauplans type quantum leap. And the way they was talking, like he was constantly practicing, and there still was no progression in his punting game. So the fact that he was content with just saying, hey, he's going to be our punter again next year, that showed that Terrence Graves was lazy and he really wasn't going out there recruiting. Joseph Davis says Southern needs to find the next James Vernon or Willie Quinn outside of number 6. He said, where are the dynamic game breakers? Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That's what I was saying. Not only do you need a couple elite level quarterbacks and just dogs up front on both sides of the ball in terms of both offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and you need to build you an elite level SWAC defense. But after you put all of those things in place, you need some dynamic playmakers, some Michael Hayes, some Jamarius Stewart, some Chris Davis, Alfred Ord, James Vernon, Devin Lewis. You need just some elite level game breakers, some elite level playmakers. And then, like I said, you definitely need to go find you an elite level punter, an elite level kicker, an elite level punt returner, kick returner. The likes of, Willie Quinn, Danny Johnson, Fred Bailey, Kenyatta Sparks. You need to go find you all of these guys. And if Coach Faulk can find all of these things from the standpoint of you go get you a couple elite level quarterbacks, then you get some elite level linemen up front on both sides of the ball. Then you build you an elite level SWAC defense. Then you go get you some dynamic game breakers and playmakers. Like I said, guys, Southern had over the years, like a Michael Hayes, like a Devin Lewis, like a Jamari Stewart, like a Chris Davis, Alfred Ard, James Vernon, Gerard Landry, whoever. And you get you an elite level punt and kick returner, like I said, like a Fred Bailey, like Kenyatta Sparks, like a Willie Quinn, like a Danny Johnson. You get you, an elite level kicker like a Carlos Leach, an elite level punter like a Matt Bushart. If you can put all of those things in place, then I think year one he would be cooking with Crisco. I mean, even if, you win 7 games that first season under Coach Faulk, but if you can lay that foundation and put all of those things in place, year 2, year 3, oh yeah, you definitely cooking with Crisco big time. And not only that, I'm also wondering, like, what type of buyout does Coach Faulk have in place? Because, at some point, if and when he has success at Southern, the bigger schools are going to come knocking. So what type of buyout does Coach Faulk have? That's interesting, too, because if Tremaine Jackson has a ridiculous buyout, I sure hope Coach Faulk has a ridiculous buyout, too. Time to be men say, I disagree. He said, if I am paying you that much, you should produce that much. Yeah, and I said that earlier in the show, time to be men. $400K is a lot of money. And, I know people saying, like, hey, he should win a SWAC championship his first season, getting that kind of bread, getting that kind of cheese. But at the same token, I mean, I want Southern to lay a solid foundation, not just for this upcoming season, but for years to come. And not only that, a foundation that's going to be so solid is going to supersede Coach Faulk. And even when he moves on to greener pastures, Southern still has everything they need in place. So I agree with you to a certain extent, but I still think there's going to be members of Jaguar Nation that's going to expect him to win a SWAC championship the first year regardless. But like I said, me personally, I'm tempering my expectations. I think we should temper our expectations. I can't tell people what to think or how to feel. I'm just basing it on the fact that if Southern starts out 0-3 or 0-4, like, are we going, say, hey, we shouldn't have brought in this guy? All the Barbarians going to be at the gate if year one Coach Faulk starts out 0-3 and 0-4. I mean, that's $1 million question. Because I'm not going to lie, I said that the last couple seasons. I said it this past season, and I said it the season before that. Especially after they blew the game at McNeese, a game you lead like 85% of the game. And, with your terrible line blocking in terms of the field goal and, Noah making poor decisions. And those two things came back to get you, Desmond Allen said, heard we might be playing Alabama State in Birmingham for SWAC opener. That's just what I heard. Yeah, I've been hearing the same thing too, Desmond Allen. Like, they're saying that's going to be a big-time game, but don't get me wrong. I know you got Coach Faulk in a SWAC. The SWAC may want to take full advantage of that. But truthfully speaking, I don't know if Southern, especially after this past season with, the SWAC MEAC Challenge, man, I don't know if Southern ready for that type of smoke right out the gate. You know what I'm saying? Time to beat men said, you can't compare, but I can't expect. He said a pay itself reflects the expectations of now. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I understand what you're saying. Time to be men. $400K. The kind of money they doling out in terms of your coaching staff, in terms of the type of money dedicated to recruiting, so on and so forth. I agree with everything you're saying from that standpoint of it. And, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I understand what you're saying, but if they start out slow and they struggle out the gate, then what? And I know for me, I'd rather me have like realistic expectations and have them exceed my expectations as opposed to me having astronomical expectations and them underachieving in my mind. That's what I'm looking at. Your boy Jay said the 2 schools I can see SU getting players from is Colorado because we have 3 coaches from there in Florida State because of Ben Miles. He said, don't be shocked if some of LSU players head over too. Well, I talked about the LSU, player thing. And I mean, even some of the names that I've been hearing, I'm like, I talked about it the previous show. I talked about, people talking about TJ Finley. No disrespect to TJ Finley, man. I am not interested in TJ Finley coming to Southern. No disrespect to him, but nah. Like, I'm not, I wouldn't be thrilled nor enamored with TJ Finley. You know what I'm saying? So, that's one name I've heard. And of course, I've also heard LSU wide receiver Jelani Watkins. And I'm not saying he wouldn't come to Southern, but whoever put that rumor out, I'm gonna just be realistic. I think that's just like pie in the sky, wishful type thinking. I'm not saying he never coming to Southern, but even with Coach Faulk, that would be a huge get for Southern if they could get Jelani Watkins from LSU, And for one, I'm understanding he's in the portal too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like all the rumors I'm hearing, I just try to tune them out because even if we just look at this past season, the way Coach Graves and Henry Miller and Mark Frederick and the entire staff was talking, like this was going to be a SWAC championship season this past season, and we saw how it turned out. So at the end of the day, it's like, time to be men say, wait, we want J-State players, but draw the line at TJ Finley. Really? Yeah, I mean, the thing about it, time to be men, had TJ Finley come to Southern, like right when he left LSU, yeah, I would have took him. I would have wanted him then. Since then, time to be men, how many schools have TJ Finley been to? Besides LSU, besides Tulane, besides wherever else he done been. And I didn't say I want Jackson State whole roster time to be men. Yeah, I definitely would take Travis Terrell Jr. You know what I'm saying? I would take Miller. I would take a couple of those offensive linemen. Maybe a linebacker or two or whatever. But I didn't say I would take their whole team. And truthfully speaking, if they're in the portal now and we just say Southern, let's just spitball it, right? Just say Southern win 8 or 9 games, but they don't win the SWAC championship. If they hit the portal after Jackson State lost in the SWAC championship game, if they would come to Southern, what they would do. So in today's day and age, we know the players nowadays don't have the type of loyalty that players of yesteryear had. So, but I definitely would express interest in some of those players. Yeah, without question. I mean, why not? I mean, if you got a guy that's a first team all SWAC player, a proven first team all SWAC player, and you can get him, like, why not? I mean, I'm just asking. He said, all right, so let's keep your boy Jay said Faulk doesn't want TJ Finley. He already have 2 quarterbacks he wants. Both are from Power 4 PWIs, guys who started a couple games last year. All right. Time to be men said, but I thought you said you want to win. He said, what if he can't do that? He can do that. Excuse me. Well, I mean, just the thing about it, time to be men. If they can win a SWAC championship and the Celebration Bowl year 1, I'm not gonna turn that down. That's what I'm saying. So tempering expectations for me is more of a mindset, from the perspective of, like I said earlier, if I'm gonna put it like this. I'd rather say, hey, let's try to win 7 games, and then you overachieve and you exceed those expectations. I want that as opposed to saying, hey, let's win 10 games and we only win 5. And I think that's the thing that Jaguar Nation has got caught up in. I mean, this team is historically bad, so this season is an outlier, is a bad example. But there have been years where I'm like, all right, hey, let's win 8 games. And, they haven't lived up to those expectations. So at the end of the day, that's my mindset. Now, in terms of the Jackson State players, I mean, at the end of the day, time to be men. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. So if getting a couple players from Jackson State is gonna help me win, I'm willing to do that. Or if getting all players from Power 5 PWIs is what it's gonna take for us to win, I'm with that either. Whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? So if we got to get a bunch of, now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying getting a bunch of players out the portal from Sacramento State and from Colorado and from Florida State and from all of these big schools, from them coming up from PWI Power 5s down to Southern. I'm not saying, hey, that is definitely for certain going to work and going to guarantee Southern a SWAC championship. But if doing that would get us that, then yeah, I would take it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't aim to win. I'm not saying Marshall Faulk shouldn't aim to win it all. I'm saying as a fan base, our mindset should be more of a, hey, this is a foundational type season. We should temper our expectations as opposed to thinking, hey, he should get it all year one. But I agree with you. Hey, time to beat, man. If he getting that kind of bread, like, ain't nothing wrong. To me, there's nothing wrong with either mindset. If your mindset, time to be man, is, hey, he getting 400K, I want 400K results, I can't be mad at that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I definitely can see it from both perspectives. I disagree, but I see both perspectives and both points of view. You know what I'm saying? Desmond Allen said, forget that. I'm trying to win. He said, whatever school they are, he said, I'm recruiting them. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, Desmond Allen, my perspective and my point of view is exactly the same. If I don't care if they played at Alabama State, all right, we just gonna spitball it for a minute, right? Like you said, time to be men, we just talk. We just gonna pretend, right? From what I'm hearing, that more than likely Andrew Body is gonna land at a PWI Power 5, right? And he probably gonna touch somewhere between like 1 to 2 million, maybe like 1.5 million in NIL money. But we're just gonna pretend, right? If I could get a couple of Jackson State first team all SWAC offensive linemen, right? And I can get Andrew Body and Travis Terrell Jr. and Muhammad Miller and whoever, right? I'm trying to think of some names that to SWAC fans that really just kind of jump out, right? I'm trying to think. Whoever, right? I don't care if they came from another SWAC school. I don't care if they came from a PWI Power 5. I don't care if they came from the moon. Wherever they came from, whatever is going to help me to win, I am willing to get those players. I mean, that's just my mindset. That's just my point of view. Like I said, as a fan base, I think we should temper our expectations and have realistic expectations. But if Coach Faulk has to do what he has to do to win, hey, I'm willing to let him do whatever he has to do to win. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he's going to have players that are going to come from Colorado. Coach Merchant is going to have players that are going to come from Sacramento State, and you're gonna get players that can come from other schools. Cool. So, that's just merely my perspective. I mean, you saying I'm killing you, but I'm saying as a fan base, we need to have realistic expectations. But as a coach, Coach Faulk needs to do whatever he needs to do to try to win. I'm not understanding how it's killing you, Tyler B, man. I mean, that's just my point of view, my perspective. I mean, you saying TJ Finley, like, I felt like when TJ Finley was at LSU, I felt like he was better than Mac Johnson. I felt like, I'm going to just keep it a buck. I felt like the players just kind of quit on him, and they really kind of sabotaged him, and they wanted Max Johnson. But, from what I don't see him play since then, he transferred to Auburn. He's been to Tulane. He's been a bunch of different schools. I'm not going to lie. Since seeing him when he was at LSU, TJ Finley hadn't showed me that, oh, yeah, he a dog. He that guy. I mean, if you gave me a choice right now between Andrew Body and TJ Finley, I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm taking Andrew Body. I ain't even going to sugarcoat it. So, I mean, that's my perspective. You know what I'm saying? Desmond Allen said, forget that. I'm trying to win. Whatever school they come from. Time to be men say just talking. Time to be men say, I feel you on that. Yeah. I mean, that's my perspective. I want to win. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Jay said, I honestly think Coach Faulk is going to strictly PWI Power 5 players in a portal. If he recruits FCS players, it's only because they played with a coach that's here. Time to be messy, man. You killing me? Nah, yeah. I feel you, but I don't see it. Man, salute to my brother Jared Lovin Green. He said, what up, coach in chat? Man, salute to you. I know more than likely you probably won't do HBCU Fanatics this week, but we can get back to it next week or whatever. Your boy Jay said Ricky Collins will be here before TJ Finley. Oh, no, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to just keep it a buck. I take Ricky Collins 10 times out of 10 over TJ Finley. And the thing about it is, Jay Good and I talked about it last night. I don't know what his situation at Syracuse is, but I mean, is he gonna come to Southern? Like, is leaving where he at and come into Southern, is it a better situation? I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, if Coach Faulk could get him, yeah, I definitely would take him. But I mean, it remains to be seen. I think at the end of the day, when people say these two elite level quarterbacks, is he one of these two elite level quarterbacks? One, and two, when he brings these two guys in, which one is going to start? And not only that, but how many quarterbacks is Southern going to keep? How many are they going to lose? Because I'm just going to be honest. I hope somebody advises some of these young men that's jumping in the portal. But I'm not going to lie. If I'm a current Southern University quarterback, or just a current Southern University player, unless I done graduated already, man, I'm not jumping in the portal like that without a guaranteed soft place to land, because I'm going to be honest, ain't no guarantee nobody going to scoop you up, you know what I'm saying? Time to be messy. I'm just climbing on the J State thing. All right. But, this is my thing, right? I mean, I hate to say it, the way Southern played this past season, if you're a player at Southern and you jump in the portal, who really going to pick you up like that? So, if Coach Faulk bringing in his two elite level quarterbacks, you got Cameron McCoy. I ain't gonna speak on it. You got Ashton Strader. Is Jalen Woods gonna hit the portal? That's what I'm wondering, because I'm not gonna lie. Like, after this past season, is he gonna get a medical red shirt? Does he really love Southern like that, or is he gonna hit the portal? Like that? That's gonna be something that's gonna be interesting and remain to be seen. Of course, you got the St. All quarterback coming in. You already got Dylan Compton. And after this past season, how much progression has Dylan Compton made? Is he going to make a jump and he going to bypass somebody like Jalen Woods? From what I'm already hearing, he already been in Ashton Stroud and Cameron McCoy. Would they ask Cameron McCoy to play another position after this past season? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he played decent in the Bayou Classic, but he still only went, 6 of 18. Don't get me wrong, those 6 completions that he made, they were all timely completions. Well, at least 5 of them for certain. But, I mean, 6 of 18, man, that is not lighting the world on fire. So at the end of the day, how many quarterbacks is Southern going to carry? And not only that, how many players are you going to lose? I mean, of course, like I said, this was a historically bad season. So certain players I wouldn't mind losing. But I'm going to just be honest. If I was advising any young men that's currently on Southern roster, but jumping in the transfer portal, I'm like, look, hey, if you got the scholarship, you on scholarship, I would keep my scholarship and I would not jump in the portal because Southern did not have a good season this past season. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Jay said, all I know is they don't like Ricky Collins over there because he isn't doing all that well. But no quarterback over there is. He will thrive at Southern. Oh, big facts. I'm not gonna even lie to you. Then I had so many players over the years at LSU, that had they transferred to Southern would have been so much better off. And I think you saw it with players like Michael Hayes, like Chris Cooper, those guys coming from LSU to Southern, like it benefited them big time. So, Desmond Allen said, damn, I forgot about Jalen Woods. Shaking my head. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see is Jalen Woods going to get a medical red shirt. But I'm not going to lie. I mean, after this past season, at one point we talked about how injury prone Andrew Body was, but if you Jalen Woods and you had that many concussions, like in a short time frame, hey, I mean, we don't want you to end up like J.C. Lewis, I mean, at the end of the day, Jalen Woods' health is more important than him playing football. And I don't want him to end up in a J.C. Lewis type situation. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I had classes with a lot of Southern University players, like Michael Hayes. I never really came in contact with J.C. Lewis, but the people that I talked to that was around J.C. Lewis after he had all those concussions, the way they was talking, like, man, hey, bro, you could see the noticeable signs of, whatever, like, concussion issues he had. It was like you could see him. And I'm like, dang. So, I mean, there is life after football. So, your boy Jay said no quarterback from the past season will even see the field. So, unless they feel like holding the clipboard, they should hit the portal. Well, I'm not going to lie. I understand what you're saying, your boy Jay. But look at Hayden Benoit. Hayden Benoit was like, what? Gramblin's 4th-string quarterback? I'm not saying these Southern quarterbacks would be as good as Hayden Benoit if, 3 Southern quarterbacks got hurt. But the point I'm trying to make is, 1, you need a certain degree of depth. And 2, I mean, you need depth, 1. And 2, if you're on scholarship, yeah, we know you more than likely if the quarterback's ahead of you that's coming in, if you're not going to see no playing time, maybe you might want to hit the portal in the next season if they're telling you, hey, you ain't going to get your scholarship. But if you got your scholarship secured and locked down, hey, based on the way Southern played this past season as a team, yeah, I'm not going to lie. Teams more than likely might not be clamoring for you, so you might want to take the short thing, you know what I'm saying? He said, did Ezra Landry transfer from LSU back in the day? No, from my understanding, no. I think Ezra Landry came straight to Southern. Even though, I mean, and the thing about Ezra Landry, like, I didn't see Ezra Landry play wide receiver. I just saw him as a punt and kick returner, and that was it. So from my understanding, I don't think he transferred from LSU. I think he came from Southern, like right out the gate, like right off the rip. You know what I'm saying? And then it was crazy to the point where, like, Coach Richardson had like so much confidence in Ezra Landry. Like every time he touched the ball, he was like, "Oh man, this boy gonna break one." I can't think of what game that was. Like, I think the team was they was kicking off the ball. They were all sides. So Coach Richardson backed him up and let him kick it again. And he didn't do this once. He did this like a few times. He just wanted Ezra Landry to just keep touching the ball. And I'm like, all right, well, 5 yards, if you punt the ball, 5 yards makes a difference, right? But I think more than anything, more than the yardage, he just wanted Ezra Landry to just keep touching the ball as much as he could. And the crazy thing about it is, like, I don't recall him ever like catching passes as a wide receiver. I don't ever recall him running a reverse. I just remember him just being a hella dope, dynamic punt and kick returner. Desmond Allen said Ezra walked on the Southern football team. He was a track guy. Oh, I mean, clearly he had track speed without question. Without question. Your boy Jay said the San Al commit, the quarterback Tig, will beat out every Southern quarterback except Woods, and even that would be debatable. I mean, the thing about it is, you know, I mean, what Woods played in what, 2 games this season? He played. When I say 2 games, I don't mean 2 full games. I mean, he made an appearance in 2 games. Like, he played a little bit of garbage time against North Carolina Central, and he played against what? Against Valley, and that's it. I think maybe the amount of time he played, he might have played maybe a quarter, like this whole season. So, you know, and not only that, but, you know, he got a concussion against Valley, and he got a concussion, not this year's Bayou Classic, but last year's Bayou Classic. So what is this, like, his health status from a injury standpoint? Like, you know, like, does he have, like, concussion issues from an injury-prone standpoint? And I know some people, I'll be like, man, Coach, guess what? Like, it was Mark Frederick garbage offense that got him in the position he was in, woo. And I understand that. But, you know, would he be healthy enough to make it through a whole season if he actually got to play? So, you know, there's just questions I'm asking, you know. Your boy Jay said that brother played 3 quarters of football last season. Dang. I'm not gonna even lie, your boy Jay. It don't even feel like a full 3. The reason I say that is because he didn't even play a whole quarter against North Carolina Central. And it feels like he left out of that Valley game early. So, dang. Like 3 quarters, that's not a lot of football. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, more than anything, above the football, you know, I just want him to be a healthy and whole human being. And like I was saying earlier, like, there's life after football. So, you know, hopefully he can stay healthy, even if he don't take another snap at quarterback for Southern. I mean, I wish him well, just from him being healthy standpoint, because, you know, I've known individuals that played football and they just couldn't stay healthy, and they just ended up giving it up because, you know, they wanted a quality of life outside of playing football. So hopefully, you know, he can get that, you know, above playing football. And the crazy thing about it is, you know, like your boy Jay said, you know, you're gonna have some dogs coming in, you know, and let's just keep it a buck. More than likely, them dogs gonna jump ahead of the players that's currently on the team. So if playing is your primary thing, yeah, you might want to hit the portal. But from my perspective, if you want security in terms of actually having the scholarship, yeah, you might want to stay. You know what I'm saying? And your boy Jay saying props to him and his family for not trying to play again last season. Them dudes couldn't block anyway. Oh no, I'm not gonna lie. That offensive line play, whoo! I'm not gonna lie. It reminded me of the last middle school team I was the head coach of. You know, I wasn't just the offensive coordinator. I was the offensive line coach. And man, I worked with them boys. It was like the more I taught them, seemed like they didn't retain anything. And I'm like, man, come on, bro. Like, do we recall anything I taught y'all? And I tried everything. I even tried to the point where I'm like, hey, y'all ain't blocking nobody. You know, let's close our splits down to 0 splits. We're not gonna have no splits. We just gonna wedge block everything. And even that, they couldn't block nobody. People just shooting gaps left and right. And I'm like, God, dog, bro. So anyway, yeah, that offensive line wasn't blocking anyone. But dang, it'd have been an hour and a half already, man. That time just fly when I get to talking about Southern University and Southern University football and interacting with everybody in the chat. But I appreciate everybody that came through, every subscriber to the channel, everybody that has supported me. Happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone. I know this time tomorrow night, more than likely, I'll probably be incapacitated because I got to have a little dental procedure. So, you know, I'm probably going to hit it to Port Allen early tomorrow morning, get my dental procedure. I know I'm probably not going to even remember this live stream tomorrow night around this time. But I appreciate everybody that came through, that showed love, that showed support. You know, salute to everybody, your boy Jay, Desmond Allen, Time to Beat Men, Joseph David, my brother Jared 11 Green. Be certain to go to his channel, check him out. Who else? Let's scroll up. Salute to Blackwater Bayou, Teldron Leathers. Of course, your boy Jay, Joseph David again, Blackwater Bayou again. Salute to Adrian Crook. Salute to my brother Big Joe Townsend. Holiday season, we'll get about an Old Hillside bourbon whiskey. Who else? Adrian Crook again, salute to him. Who else? Nathaniel Frank. Salute to you, Nathaniel Frank. Salute to Relax and Calm Rain. Salute to Motivation to Be a Millionaire. Salute to everybody that came through, that was able to check out the live stream. Salute to everybody that's going to catch it on playback. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. Your boy Jay said it's exciting times on the bluff. Merry Christmas, everybody. Get well soon, coach. Yeah. It's going to be a little one day out of commission. That's all it's going to be. One day. I'm probably not going to remember nothing 24 hours from now, but guess what? I'll be right back up the next day. I'm just going to go to Port Out and get a little minor dental procedure done. Yeah, I'm going to shake back. I'll be ready for the weekend for my next live stream. Salute the Time to Beat Men. He said, have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to the Jaguar family. Take care of yourself, my brother. Man, salute to your fam. Man, I appreciate y'all. This weekend, I'm going to be back on the block. Another live stream. You know, we're going to continue our Marshall Faulk era of Jaguar football. Hopefully, we got more news in terms of him gradually putting together his coaching staff. And not only that, him putting together his roster. But I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings to the family. And go Jags.